that time of the day again, people. It is a Walk with Mel, the show that gives you the inside scoop of what it's like to be an artist in Cape Town, South Africa. I'm your host Mel en ek is baie excited om vir julle hier te hê saam met ons. And today we have a special guest. I'm so honored to have Mizo Maclean here with us. He is a video editor, colorist, and content producer. I am so excited to have you here, Mizo. I know you through Maru Pink. Shout out to Maru. And we kind of work together like behind the scenes, never met in person. And then the Blokke happened, which is a film by Roxanne Blaze for the Silver Skerm Fears. And you obviously were nominated there for Best Editor. So shout out and well done on that.
Thank you.
And it's always so amazing because we see the rewards and it's so cool for me when I get to speak to people that works behind the scenes and now to have you here and share the journey because everyone has a journey. So firstly, you moved to Cape Town in 2014.
Yeah.
Take us back to where you're from and who was Mizo Maclean growing up?
I'm from Eastern Cape, in a township called Mdantsane. Mdantsane is actually the second largest township in South Africa after Soweto.
Don't lie.
Really?
No one knows this.
Really? So most people think it's Khayelitsha. But it's
yes.
Yeah, it's actually Mdantsane, then Khayelitsha.
Shout out.
Yeah.
Shout out.
Mdantsane is known for its famous boxers.
Okay.
Baby Jakes. Matlala is from Tanzania. Steve Hugo is from King Williamstown. So I'm mentioning that because some of my years I also grew up in King Williamstown.
Amazing.
That's
amazing. The greats. We see you.
Yeah. I have to represent.
Yeah. And who were you growing up? Were you a cool kid? A nerd?
I was very adventurous.
Really?
Yeah. So so where I come from it's very green, a lot of forest. And I remember on weekends, me and my friends, we would go into the forest. It was like a jungle, right? And there was like a river, like a stream in the middle, right? And that stream wasn't visible to the outside, so it was like a valley-ish. So on weekends we used to go there, and then. Some of my friends used to play with crabs, but I was terrified.
Yeah. You're the crab person.
Yeah, no.
You eat them, but don't play with them.
Yeah. So, but we used to put our feet in there, and we used to climb trees.
You
so
loved.
So I was very adventurous, but I was never mischievous.
Okay.
But obviously, every kid has their season.
Of course.
Yeah. So there was a time when I got good beatings.
It's important for balance in life.
Yeah. But overall, I was never a naughty or mischievous kid.
Lovely. And then obviously, like I said, you're a video editor now and content producer, but back in the day, you drew a lot.
Yeah.
What was your what drew you to drawing? But what was your inspiration there? Who did you see first? Yeah, how did that happen?
I don't know. I think it was one of those moments where you had. Remember, in primary, you had to have a set of the colors.
Oh yes, yes,
12,
yes.
So I think it translated from having that, right, and because of obviously this arts and culture, right?
Yeah.
So you get home and then you just you're fascinated because you have all these colors in front of you, and it's like, okay, what can I do? And I grew up loving Ben 10 and Dragon Ball Z.
That was the stuff.
Yeah, so literally that's what I used to draw. Like I used to draw Ben 10, all these aliens, Goku, Vegeta, Trunks,
I'll give
Piccolo.
you all the options.
Yeah, And funny enough, I used to sell those drawings.
What?
Yeah.
Where's this man van Klein stuff? I love it. But then music also happened. I didn't know you were a rapper as well. How did that happen? I mean, from drawing, you touch on all the aspects. Then music happened, yeah?
So from drawing, I used to balance drawing with writing, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So the writing side of it came from I never. So you know how growing up, especially our gen, it was a season, not a season, but it was like a phase where kind of you had no outlet.
Yes.
So even when your parents shouted you, it wasn't a conversation.
No.
It was like I'm talking to you,
and you listen.
Yeah, 100%. So you can't say why you did something. So it wasn't a conversation. So the writing, literally, it was me
not projecting.
No,
but I get you.
Yeah, saying how I'm feeling, and even in that, it wasn't necessarily writing like a journal.
Yeah.
It was always story based. So I would
Amazing.
give my emotions characters.
Really?
Yeah. So I would say there's a girl who's angry and there's a guy who's frustrated and kind of.
So you don't tell the actual story,
No.
but you just you're
No.
clever, you're deep. No, I was journaling. I'm upset at this person.
No.
I'm the
No, so for me it wasn't that.
Amazing.
Yeah, it
And
was-
what's the plan for you to become a musician?
So that one wasn't necessarily something I always had in mind.
Yeah.
It was more of so when I moved to Cape Town, my mentor still is an artist. So I think being surrounded by him a lot.
Okay.
Because the thing is, I used to be in the studio with him.
Got
So after
you.
school, I never like went to play or whatever. I would go to my mentor, and then he actually was an editor also.
Sure.
So after he was done at work, I would go chill with him in the studio, and I would just
Gotcha.
like literally just sit on the couch the whole time. So I think maybe that's how the transition between the writing translated to music.
Got you.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
So, but at that time, so the S5 Mini Samsung released the phone in 2014, right? So my uncle actually bought me that phone right a month after it came out. And so what happened was I used to film a lot. Like I would take my phone in the studio when my mentor was rapping.
Wow.
I would just like film with it, and yeah, like so I think music came through him.
So it's amazing because how you were, I feel like you were pushed into the direction.
Yeah.
And then did the editing then happen because of that?
No.
What was the transition for you?
So the editing, I used to film on my phone,
Yeah.
and the studio was in Salt River, and at that time I stayed in Parklands.
Yeah.
So the distance in between was a bit long. So on my way back, I would literally take my phone and just edit on my way back. So by the time I get home, I'm
cool.
like done.
What?
And then I would send it to whoever was involved in the video, the producer, my mentor,
Amazing.
and my family and my mentor used to see it a lot, and they'd be like, "Man, like you're really good. Like you should consider this, like
Sure.
film and editing." But for me, I think because I wanted to be like him so much, I was like, "Nah, I want to do music."
Okay.
So yeah,
But you had to go through that
I think I had to.
to find yourself.
Yes, 100%.
And I was going to ask you now because I mean, it seems like you were, like I said, now you were pushed into this on this journey. You know, how did you trust it? How did you know that? Is it because you, like I said, you had a mentor? And how did you train? How did you did you just trust the feeling of I'm going to just go with it?
Before I actually I can say because I don't want to also make it sound like I landed on there, because
Got you.
there was a season. My first job was a Waitron. I used to work at Spur.
Sure.
And my second job I used to work at Escom.
Sure.
And my third job I used to sell credit cards in malls.
What?
So there was such a season of depression.
I'm glad you're saying this.
Yeah, there was such a season of depression where I was very suicidal actually,
Sure,
because
easy.
I felt like I wasn't doing what I wanted to do. But in all of that, this is also where it's important to surround yourself with people who are where you want to be.
Yes.
So my mentor was there, and as much as I was hopping around in all that, for me, I can say that even when I was with him, I would tell him that, man, like this is how I'm feeling, and I'm not coping. You know what I mean? And through prayer and guidance, and just like
Support.
yeah, and support. I because I knew deep down. I think, okay, let me put it like this: coming to Cape Town, all I knew was I want to be a storyteller.
Sure.
So that's all I had. I wanted to tell stories,
Amazing.
but I didn't know how.
How?
Yeah. So obviously,
incredible.
yeah. So the story came obviously as growing up. I used to write. Right.
Got you.
So I was like, man, I just want to tell stories.
Wow.
Period. So when I got pushed in the direction of film, I was like, music is a universal language, 100%.
Yes.
But I feel like film is what, for me, was more punchier. I was like, okay, this is it.
This is incredible.
And it was my first love, literally.
Mizo, I feel like it found you. It was always there. It was hidden inside of you and it just found you. We're hanging out with Mizo Maclean, people. We're taking a quick break. You're watching A Walk with Mal. Don't go anywhere. And we are back, people. It is a walk with Mel, and we are hanging out with Mizo Maclean. It's so exciting to hear your journey because, like I said, I know you and I worked with you, but now I'm getting to know you and what you've been through. And before the break, we were chatting about your journey, about obviously the music, the writing, the drawing, and how storytelling was planted inside of you, but then the filming industry obviously then found you. Like it's like a match made in heaven, you know. 100%. And I say that because obviously you were nominated for best editor at the Silver Scanner Fierce, the Blocker. But before we go into that again, just tell me, what is a day life like with you? Because this is a walk with Mel, obviously, and we like to take people on a walk. What is a day life like with you? A day in a life with Mizo?
Shucks.
Whether on set or at home?
At home.
Just a quick one, yeah.
Literally behind the computer.
Really?
I'm editing. I'm doing a storyboard for a project I might be working on, doing research. Have my AirPods on, bumping music. On set, just get on set like an hour prior to the set starting. Get the sense of the environment, and just look out for maybe any issues you might encounter, you know, and
to avoid,
just plan that, and when it's time to roll, it's time to roll.
Lekker. I wanted to ask you, because you mentioned something that's just a random question. As an editor, because I'm thinking, you just edit, but what do you do? Because you said storyboarding. Just give us an idea of what all the stuff, what's the stuff that you do?
So I'm a film editor, colorist, and so what that looks like is when I get a project, as I get the brief of it or the synopsis, if I didn't shoot it, and what that looks like is going through the footage, understanding the context or the purpose and the goal and the aim of the project, and after that is sitting and going through it and, like, you know, scrubbing through the footage and just like stitching that together and then putting together the story. So once the story is there, then how can I make it better? So that's usually my journey, is get the project, understand the goal and the purpose of it,
and try and hide
and then then stitch the story together, and then once that's on solid, and okay, how can I make it better and make it interesting for people?
Amazing stuff. And let's talk about some of the brands that you've worked with, brands and artists, and if you can share some highlights or experiences that stood out for you.
Worked with Casper, Nasty C, Puma, Sneaker Factory, Markham's, High Tech. Biggest highlight yet is I worked with Akon this year.
That's so cool.
Yeah, on his new project coming out, on his new music video called Sleep.
Amazing. Amazing.
He has a music video coming out. And that was very...
That's incredible.
Because the thing is, I grew up listening to him. And so having to work with him, and he's such a cool guy. On set, we had a whole conversation. He was eating and
like chilling.
Yeah, we were chilling. I was chilling in his trailer.
What the hell?
So it felt so surreal. I was like, man, this is Akon.
This is heavy, bruh.
Yeah. So that's my biggest highlight.
That's amazing. It reminds me of the thing of, they say that your gift makes room for you.
100%.
It just reminds me of that, because I mean, I've listened to your journey where you started and now somewhere like this. I want to touch on something that you also mentioned. You mentioned that despite the brands I work with, I still go on set as a runner. Why do you think that's important, especially being in this industry?
Humility. I think one thing, I remember there was a time I felt like I knew everything, and my mentor had to put me in my place.
Sure.
To say, you're not the best at what you do. There's someone who's better. And it sounds hectic,
but it's the truth,
but that's the honest
all of us.
100%. So one thing he also taught me is, this is a quote that has stuck with me since 2014. He said, if you're the smartest person in the room, you're in the wrong circle.
Get out, boy.
Yeah. So
but that's amazing, because it also, when you do that, you're always learning new skills. You're opening yourself up to learning.
Yeah. So that's why I always, and till date, sought to be in rooms where there's people who are better than me at what I do. So constantly I'm searching for wisdom.
Sure.
And just looking for room and ways to grow and improve, and
amazing.
not just through people, but through prayer.
Sure, yeah. That is
yeah.
that is so important.
Very-
I want to touch on, because you just said, obviously, as an editor, you try and see how you can heighten a project. And they always say it, and when I watch films, it's like your film editor can either make or break something, you know. But what challenges do you guys face? I mean, we worked on, like I said, the Blocker together. There's other projects that you've worked on with me. But what do you guys face?
Finding music.
Is it?
Funny enough, yeah. I can spend, if I'm working on a project, I can spend a good 3 hours looking for music. I haven't started on the edit.
What?
Yeah.
To add?
Yeah.
Yo.
Literally just music. I've spent hours on that. And then, other than that, if we are to touch on the mental side of it, I think, or at least for me, for editors, we actually don't have social lives, funny enough. We don't.
Life is boring.
That's the honest truth. We have our meetings online.
That's exciting.
Yeah.
The way you said that.
Like, oh, another human. Oh, hey, you know. Literally. But on the serious note, the most problems that we tend to have, or challenges, is we'll meet a lot of clients who may not know what they're looking for, so they literally like testing the water,
figuring it out as
the project is going, and that affects you as an editor, because it means you spending so much time on that. And of course it's, I mean, that's why I always tell people, don't be an editor because there's money involved or whatever. Be in it because it's what you love and breathe. That's your first love, that's your passion. So because the thing is, you can literally spend 2 weeks on one project.
Right.
And I was actually watching a behind the scenes of Netflix. Do you know that Netflix actually has 5 cuts of a film between the actual film is put out? So it means one editor does 5 versions of one film.
What the hell?
Versions? Before we see what we see on Netflix. So
people don't realize it. I think myself and Roxanne, also when we went through the process, she would know more than me, obviously. When we went through the process of the blockers, obviously that thing of you're having to change. I mean, I saw that before the time. I was like, what? It
what
changes
scene
again?
Works, like put this scene.
Yes.
Oh no, it doesn't. Okay, let's take it
You need
back.
to have patience, like you need to love it.
100%.
And both of you guys loved it. I love it too, but you guys loved it more because she would come with new ideas all the time. I would see you guys do that thing. I want to ask you something that I've noticed. You've won a competition, the writing competition, which we didn't touch on yet, and then you came second at an editing competition, which is amazing, and then obviously you got nominated at the Silver Scarum Fierce. I feel everywhere you move, you are uplifted in your gift. And you stay humble, obviously. Do you think that it's, besides hard work, that faith plays a big role?
100%. Life is spiritual. That's the honest truth. Life is spiritual. Before we interact in the physical, we are spiritual beings. And for me, my creator, I believe God placed this gift in me to not only does it serve me, but God has enabled me to serve others.
Sure. So
for me, before every project, I just go in with a heart of gratitude and I just pray. And my daily prayer is just, Holy Spirit, help me to be better at what I do, because even in the Bible there's a story of God leaving a master leaving his servants with gifts, and so how then do you multiply it? You know what I mean? So when Jesus comes back, what is your response to the gift that he left you with? You know, how have you served other people with it? How did you nurture it? How did you multiply it? How did you serve God with it? You know what I mean?
Wow, this is valid.
so yeah, for me, before, obviously people see the work and they see the outcome of it, but behind doors, I go in my closet before starting on any project, and I just pray that it's so fruitful. Because anything that God lays his hand on, and it has to be fruitful.
100%.
It has to be. So for me, that's my prayer before every project. So
Amazing.
God, let this project be fruitful. That's it.
Lovely. I love that you said that. It's so important to me as well, and I believe that I'm nothing without him.
100%.
You know, none of us are. And I'm reminded now about that quote that Denzel Washington, not a quote, but he said it. He WhatsApp me. Don't want to make it a thing. But he said about the dreams. It was him or Miles Monroe. But when you are on your deathbed, you know, your dreams shouldn't be standing around you, looking at you and asking, but what about us?
Yeah.
You should make sure that you fulfill all those dreams, you know. What services do you offer, and social media, where can people catch you?
Video editing, color grading, and content producing. So content producing can be a bit vast, you know. But all that means is if you have an idea, you're looking for a way to bring it to life.
Shot.
And you don't know maybe on how to start on it and how to, you know.
So you can have the process from the beginning, basically.
Yeah, consultation, and how we can make your project better.
Amazing.
And tell it the best way we may know how.
Amazing.
Socials, simple, at Mizo Maclean.
Lekker.
Instagram. That's the only socials I'm active on.
But it's cool. That's all good as long as people can contact you. Thank you so
Yeah.
much for sharing your journey. And thank you so much for sharing your gift with us.
Thank you.
It's such an honor to know you and to witness your success, man. And we wish you all of the best, man. Thank you. Thank you so much for tuning in, people. It is a walk with Mel. We catch you next time.